Today we have electric cars. A lot of innovations are going on. Today, you could be in your living room and with your phone, you can manipulate maybe your DSTV, right? Today you can watch Netflix without having to do it the usual way. These are some innovations. So we too at GText Homes, we are always steps ahead. We are always looking for opportunities to make life better for our clients. So we also leverage on technology. That means that all our estates, upon their completion, they are going to be smart in nature. What does that mean? For example, you come into your living room, or not even your living room, right at your gate, maybe you're driving. You don't need to honk your horn and start shouting, Musa, open the gate. No. Just with the press of a button, your gate opens wide. You come in with the press of a button, the light comes on, the tap water comes on. These are things we want to achieve in all of our estates. Now, when we pitch this to people, some people say, I remember a UK client called the office, that was 2 months ago. I was one she spoke with, and I told her this thing. It was like, your mouth is sweet, Joe. That's what you people say in Nigeria, where there's no light, there's no this, there's no that. And I laughed. I asked her one simple question, man, do you know what biodigester means? She said, no. I said, man, do you know that with your feces, you can generate electricity? Are we aware? Yes. Yes. I know some persons may be hearing it for the first time. So these are some of the innovative things we are bringing on board in GText Homes. So it is very, very possible. Now, this is our 6th year in business in the real estate industry. And we are still very far from the dreams we have put for ourselves. However, we are proud of where we have gotten to. So 6 years down the line, ladies and gentlemen, we are the only Nigerian real estate company that does 24/7 CRM. What does that mean? Any time of the day you call into the office, there is somebody to attend to you. You are one of our clients, maybe you live in the diaspora, and you need to make some inquiries, or you have issues with your landed documents, and you call the office. There's somebody to pick your call and on time. Okay, this is one of the things we do. Again, what sets us apart is that we deliver your documents to you in any part of the world free of charge. There is no fee we attach to it. I think we should clap for us. Yes. So in anywhere you are in the world, your landed documents are shipped to you free of charge. I don't want to blow our trumpets too much. These are some of the things we do at GText Homes. And over the years, we've become the delight of customers. And we have a vision. We have a vision of being among the top 5 real estate companies in Africa within the next 15 years. That's our dream. That dream is shifting a bit because we don't want to do Africa again. We are now global. You know why? January this year, we opened our Dubai office. So today in Dubai, we're into property brokerage, we're into shop-based apartment, and a lot of other services that are with top real estate companies like Tiger Properties, Emma Properties, and their likes. If you know the Dubai real estate industry very well, for you to partner with this, you want to do something big. So these are some of the things that we have achieved. Now, our MD CEO, the Odogu of real estate, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, is somebody who was born like every other person, born in Maiduguri. You know, the scripture says Jabez knew poverty, right? Jabez was richer than the child Stephen. Imagine it was at age 13. Imagine you were 13 when you, for the first time in your life, you saw a WC at age 13 for the first time in your life. So this was somebody who knew poverty, he smelled poverty, he breathed poverty, he lived poverty. Come on, guys. It wasn't easy. So, but through sheer dint of hard work, passion, and perseverance, he was able to build a conglomerate that is today one of the strongest and the biggest in Africa. Yes. So because he understands that it's not just about him, it goes beyond him, we then set up what we refer to as the GText Homes Consultants Program, where we give everybody opportunities to make money for themselves through the sale of real estate. I guess your brother there, he said he's an estate agent, but he wants to, estate surveyor, okay, but he wants to transit into real estate because that is where the money is. And that's very, very correct. Before I joined the real estate industry, I knew where I was. But today, if you are in the real estate industry, there's a way you call money. I don't know if you understand. If you're talking to somebody to invest in a property worth millions, you call it as if you are calling them. But before then, it was not that possible. You would think it's one big money. But now, you not that you have the money, you don't have the 10 million, the 50 million, but you see it as it's anything. So this is what real estate does to you. It first begins to make you see yourself that you can do this thing, you can be there. And once you have that conviction inside of you that you can get this thing done every day, doing it becomes very, very easy. But inside of you, that conviction, then it becomes a very big problem. So the GCP program is for everybody who is hungry for success. Anybody who wants to make money for himself or herself. So you do your business, you have a 9-to-5 job, doesn't matter. Provided you are passionate about the real estate and you have hunger for success, you are welcome on board to sell our real estate properties. And you know one thing that makes it advantageous to market real estate? Everybody knows that real estate is good. Everybody believes that real estate does not diminish, the value continues to appreciate. Everybody knows that. But you know the problem? Two things. One, people are looking for to trust with their money. People are looking for to trust with their money. Number two is your inability to sell. Let me give an example. Somebody, because of the nature of my job, I receive a lot of calls, messages, emails, and what have you. So one of our consultants who is based in Abuja called sometime last week and said somebody needed to invest. But the person doesn't want to build now. The person just wants to buy, keep it, and the person doesn't want to lose the money. I said, oh, that's land banking. She said yes. So the next question she asked me was, the area, hope there are houses there, people are already living there, you know, all those kind of questions. And I asked her, why are you bothered about whether people are living there or not? The person who wants to invest is doing it for the purpose of investment, land banking. So it's not a problem. It should not be a factor to decide or determine whether the investor should invest or not. So as real estate consultants, it is always good you understand what your clients want. So that takes you beyond being just a consultant or a real estate agent to becoming an advisor. Okay, so you need to know all of these things. When you know them, it will be easy for you to pitch. I don't want to be tempted going into sales because we have those who are competent and will do justice to all of that. So across Nigeria, for example, in Ibejuleki has been touted to be the new Lagos, and it is so for a number of reasons. With the blueprints, if you look at the blueprints for the new Lagos, that's why a lot of attention is shifting to Ibejuleki. So a lot of people are going there, and it's as they say, when you see where people are going to go there to, in fact, you even go ahead of them. So we have properties in Ibejuleki. I don't know if you can quickly go through that slide. But before then, go back. Before then, if you want to sign up as a consultant with GText Homes, it is completely free. free of charge. Now, everybody that would come up here to speak to you are not coming to tell you abstract things or fairy tales. They are coming to tell you practical things that they've done, and there are results to show for it. So I was talking about lack of trust. Last year, I made my first sale in real estate. Okay, now the person who bought, and here's the thing, I did not go to him to say, come and buy real estate. Just a friend. We're just having, so COVID-19 happened. I used to be in the business events industry. Okay, I host a lot of events, we organize business events. But COVID happened, and people had already bought tickets for an event that was scheduled to hold in May. So we couldn't hold that event again. One day, my boss reached out and said, okay, you guys can find something to be doing for the now. After COVID, maybe we'll come back, continue with company. So it was very difficult for me to do. I'm the first son of my family. So I have 4 siblings I'm training in school and also looking after more. So my dad is late. And I said to myself, I can't continue like this. So fast forward, I found myself in GText Homes. So I was speaking with this friend about how COVID came and what have you, and I work for a real estate company, blah, 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 blah. And real estate don't open my eyes to this. You know, I was just listening to me. And after some time, I said, wow, I do know I've been contemplating investing. Well, I have some options. It's just that I'm not sure. I'm scared. All this one they are saying, we pay today, the land does not exist. I don't want anybody to scam me. Because this guy works so hard for his money. I was what sold it. 2 days later, we were to go to one of our estates for inspection. And I told you, why don't you come along with us? Just come and see how it's being done. And he came. I also happened to be the person who anchored the inspection. So that trust was already there. And the next thing he told me was, Dad, give me form. I said, form for what? You want to join? You want to sell real estate? Okay, I said, no, I want to buy. I said, calm down. I said, that serious, wants to buy, wants to buy. I said, don't worry, we'll talk. So when the boss going back home, kept stopping the guy. Now, I said, guy, let's talk. Are you really serious? I said, yes, now. That was my first. That was how this guy bought. I mean, when the commission came, no, I'm telling you a real life story. This is previously, I used to sit down too and hear people talk about their own, how they sold. I'm like, that doesn't even happen. And that was it. Last month, February, I sold another land, one of our estates, 8 million naira. Being honest, I sold. How did that one happen? A schoolmate in the university. So if you know me too well, anywhere I am, I hype what I social media, I'm always posting. So she has always been saying it. My other brother is in the UK, does lavishing money. So she's the one who is even convincing me buy. The guy agreed to buy, and then she was now looking for, okay, where do we buy this? So social media worked for me because I was always hyping GText Homes. I would never advertise any other real estate company's product. Sometimes people reach out to me to say, okay, we don't have land yet. Please help me. I know you know the industry very well. Can you recommend somebody who is trusted, somebody else I can buy from? I don't do it. It's just a personal principle. And she reached out to me to say, hey, Alpha, that day we had a training. I was under pressure because I managed well over 5,000 realtors like this. So calls, messages, management, I mean, it's hectic. Because I just saw that call and I said, what's this calling me for? John, I used to, I'm still working there. Hey, where's that your estate again? Okay, this one. I never knew an 8 million naira deal was offering. I did not know. I was, unenthusiastically, I just answered. I told her that we're having a training now that maybe. Thank God I reached out to her. Sorry, this was one. It's fine. Cut the long story short, I sent her videos, pictures, and what have you. She forwarded to her brother. We were just going back and forth on it for up to 4 good days. And eventually, I was in the office. The alert came. because I also have access to most of the company's email accounts. So I saw it. Wow, 5 million naira, that was the first tranche. Jesus. God, real estate sales, believe you me, it does. If IMD will come up here to address us, I'm sure he's going to show us, proofs. Those of us who stayed behind before this new session started, there was a lady I introduced, Mabel. She's one of our consultants. And last January, she was one of those who went to Dubai. So it sells. It sells, believe you me, it does. So we need to put all of our hearts into it. One of our management consultants who will train us here, I'm sure it's also going to repeat this, that the earth makes way for people that are consistent. So very quickly, log on to portal.gtexthomes.com to sign up as one of our consultants. It's free of charge. There are people who charge money for this, but we do not charge you a dime. We do not charge you a dime to become one of our consultants. But don't join and run away. Don't join and do too many things at the same time. No, don't do that. You want to be focused. When you sign up, there's a link you will click to join the WhatsApp group, to also join the Facebook group. And from there, you're getting updates. Next week, Tuesday, we are going to have a practical class on how you can pitch to a prospect when you are on site. So you take somebody to a land, there is too much water. What do you tell the person that will make the person buy? Or the person tells you, I'm not interested. How will you now change your face and you stop smiling at the person? Practical things at Ibejuleki, that's where we'll go to on Tuesday. And we want everybody to be part of that. Number 16B, Babatunde Ladega Street, Omole Phase 1, Lagos. That is our office address. That is where we will meet at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. And from there, we'll go to those estates. It's going to be very, very interesting. You would love it. Free of charge, there will be free refreshments for you. Trust me, you will not regret coming. So we still have a loaded session for us, but we are still expecting 2 additional speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, permit me to introduce. It's the first time I'm doing this. I've never introduced him as a function before, so I wouldn't even know how to go about this, but I think I should quickly take a bit of a citation. I need to say, that's correct. What are you trying to do? I need to say, no, sir, let me do this, please. Let me do this, please. Let me do this, please. No, let me do this, please. So, he's the founder and managing director at Xavier. He's a graduate of mathematics with 2 masters of business administration. So, and over a decade of experience working with startups and big businesses. He's a lead management consultant to over 128 businesses, including GText Homes. Inner couples. So there are some inner couples that decide what happens in the company. He's one of those who decides our destinies. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Izu. Wow, my privilege doing this. Thank you, sir. I have to pretend like I'm as big as you're making it. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So I'm not used to looking myself back and forth, but I said some amazing things a few hours ago, but I just realized that the model is new people every few hours ago. Right? So I might have to sound like a recorder, right? So that you don't miss out on some of the things. Was anybody here in the initial room? So please, if I miss out anything, it's just that I'm not used to this.
naturally, like I said the first time, if you're a writer, you write the kind of books you love to read. Am I right? If you're a singer, you sing the kind of song you love to listen to. So I'm very spontaneous, so I don't like to just like to speak. So the first time I was talking about the power of audacity, right? Now I'm going to talk about something else, really. But just so you know why that was so important was we're talking about the OS and saying no matter how good the software is, you have to have an OS that runs it. So the most important part of the conversation was earlier, but I can't go back to it because I was hoping that it was the same guy. So I wanted to pave the way to say, look, before you learn all the technical stuff, you need to learn the basic stuff. Right? So I can't go back to that basic stuff. Of course, the reason why I said that was because when people introduced me with all of those technicalities, and we built some reasonable amount of businesses, in all honesty, GText is 6 years old, right? It'd be safe not even to say that I've been there since 6 years as a management consultant. In real estate, we've probably done a lot of brands. We're behind a lot of brands. We've done restructuring work with a lot of brands. We've done consulting work, we've done training. Brands you probably will know. Whether it's Briggs and Hammers, whether it's Henneck, right? You know, and these are very strong brands. Now, the funny thing about it is, one thing that I think is really important is if you must build a great organization, and I spent 10 years doing that in 2 ways. First, building a great organization for myself, and then as a consultant, because it's so important that business is like riding a bicycle. No matter how much you have read how to ride a bicycle, if you don't own a bicycle and you're not trying on the bicycle, you don't theory. It's like swimming. You cannot Google how to swim or watch YouTube video on how to swim and come to conclusion that you are learning to swim. If you do that and they take you to a level ship, right, and tell you to swim, you just realize how much you don't know how to swim. So even though I like to have a business consultant, you know, I like to talk about more me even running the business at a very, starting a business at a very young age. I left school around 22, 23, I started business at 21. And it brings us to the conversation of today about consistency. So if I tell you I spent over 10 years, you know, you can do the math to calculate how old I am. But the thing about it is, I believe life is full. We think that we're going to do a little bit of everything. We just want to do a little bit of everything. Matter of fact, I had that conversation with a few people just outside after the session. So what do? You know, in a real estate seminar, you came as a realtor, you're selling me another thing. Right there. Selling insurance, right there. We are not finished with insurance, we're selling in Canada. You know, nothing wrong with it, but if you do with people that really have the income, right? What I've learned hanging around people that have made it big is they all seem to act like they come from the same family tree. There's something genetically, they're all genetically well. In fact, how do you know you're making it when you start to sound that way? You know, when you start to behave that way, first of all, they don't like people that are inconsistent. I'm sure you've noticed. Right? Matter of fact, even in my own small circle, I do that very well. If you come to me and ask me for money, I'll tell you to come tomorrow. You don't need money in my pocket. I just want to see whether you can consistently compliment me. Compliment me, you need that money. Else, I'm just going to give you away on Twitter. You know, that you have the tweets, people DM them and say, okay, I have a problem. You don't really have a problem. Because you saw me. You know that thing you do an entry in hotel and send it for the boys? That's how I put you that category, that you're just an opportunity. You saw me, you think I'm comfortable enough. Now, what am I driving at? Consistency. So, the first conversation was about audacity, and I explained why we have an exclamation mark and then now let's talk about consistency. Because after you're audacious, right, you now have to build up on that audaciousness by being consistent. I'll tell you a few stories. I'm a storyteller, so I like to tell stories. I told the story about story from a friend's hand information. I grew up around that circle. I know him, I know his mentors and all that. So I talk about consistency. A few months ago, I read something that was important and very interesting. It was Warren Buffett's birthday. Does anybody know Warren Buffett here? No Warren Buffett here. For a few years, he was the richest man in the world. Then he fell to number 2, and then Bill Gates became number 1. Ever since him and Bill Gates got to number 1 and number 2, they have over 20 years to 5 years ago, when the table shook and Amazon came and Jeff Bezos went out to Chester, Elon Musk took that ground in a few weeks, right? And when stock rose, Amazon is back to being the richest man. But for 20 years, and which is something I read and thought was important and very interesting. Maybe somebody pick up from it. It was Buffett's birthday, right? Now it's number one guy and number two. They've been number one and number two for almost 20 years. You know how that powerful is? There's 7 billion people on Earth. 107 billion people since humankind came into existence. 107 people have lived this world. That means 107 billion people have lived. There are currently 7 billion people alive. So 100 billion people are right? Out of 7 billion, for you to be the richest man out of 7 billion, you're doing something right. Am I right? I'm not just doing it as a fluke. See, Papa Ijebu cannot help you blow that way, right? All we go, can I help? The herbalist that you use in those Nigerian cannot help you. There's something you have learned, and you've learned it steadily. Like I like to say, anybody can fall off a ladder by accident. Nobody climbs a ladder by accident. Those kind of hammer is not by accident. This kind of hammer is family tree. And people understand that the Gates didn't just fall out to become the richest man. The Gates happened to be one of the first people on Earth. Perhaps history has that probably the first 100 people on Earth. First 100 people on Earth to own a computer. So we have advantage. It's like years ago when I was still in school, I dated this lady who was a pilot. And she told me a story that was really important. I just wanted to know. I never really realized that a few months into the relationship, I said, wait a second, what school did you go to? Like, what school did you go to? Because you're young, just 21, 22. So I expected 22, they just graduated. They go school, that's what I'm saying. Or go school. And I got to shock on my life. She's a pilot. But she had flown Aero, she had flown British helicopter, she had flown between flying a 747, flying Airbus, flying helicopters, so she's grounded. They go school, she's like, just not because I know that if you be a pilot, you know funny thing that 80% of pilots in the world are not graduates. Because I grew up knowing that all this kind of thing called rocket science. It's something rocket science. So I expect that, and it's really mathematics as a first degree. So I expect that to be really like, don't understand that this is a good formula for being pilots. For you to be a pilot, 90% of the time, you must have started flying very early. One of the core ideology of today's consistency that once you have not entered plane, first year of your life, second year, third year, fourth year, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 11, 12, what's the third plane way after hammer? Right? So I'll show you some other that. Some of us say, but I'm still not that plane. So it's fine, we're all in the same WhatsApp group. Right, but here's the thing. So she said that. And a few years ago, I got to meet some guy who came about and also told a story about pilots and why it doesn't matter when you start. And why it doesn't matter when you start is because there's a particular amount of time you need to put into something to make it. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't let Bitcoin markets and Yahoo boys all those things. You will people that become very successful are steady. You see, you cannot fly into flying. You have to walk. You must let them walk into flying, right? So the story of hold my thoughts. The get my story and tell story and let's correlate everything. Story about Rebecca and the Gates, what I found when they wrote the notes. So this was the Gates. The Gates writing the notes to Warren Buffett. Somebody get the point first. Number one and number two, they're not competing. Does everybody get it? Healthy competition. I call it good envy. Good envy. Every human being must have an element of envy. You don't have envy, you don't have affection. Because there's not much more bad envy, which is witchcraft. You want that somebody's. Let me tell you what good envy is. How did you go to school? You went to school because at the age you were 4. There was somebody in your parents' circle who had a child that was 4 and you started school. Then what happens? Your parents said, how will you build your first house? somebody from the second buy land, and you choose buy land. That's a good envy that creates healthy competition. Am I talking to somebody here? Yes. So that's good envy that, wait a second, number one and number two, they are right from where I come from, about where you come from. Yeah? Number one, is number two. Matter of fact, if number two died, we suspect it's number one that killed you. Right? So that's but let's hold that thought. That's not what we're going to. So she told me, this lady said, oh, that no, she's not a graduate, and next people are not graduates with flight plane. I'm like, oh, but don't for flight plane, that's very critical and not technically smart. Like, yeah, but really process it, you know. But that's not the point. So she now said, well, if you haven't flown to your 10, that means you've not entered plane with your parents, it's hard. And now it makes sense to me because how we do, and over the years I've come to fly, at the time of marriage, 5 years of my life, one funny things in my life, I lasted 5 years where I literally had 2 luggages, right? One in my wardrobe at home and one in my car. I can say I come to a person from there I'm out. It was a very crazy place, and that was the place where we did the 128 businesses because your marriage slows you down, you know, and in a good way. It slows you down. I can't tell my wife I come, and she comes and say, I said, I'm in Abuja. It's a family village meeting that we set to, you know. But here's the thing. So now I fly very often, and I fly different, you know, local, international, PJs, you know. But one thing I've come to see is when I do the plane, I don't do that just at the like how do you feel when the plane is taking? If you have taken off, if you have started taking off when you were 3, 4, you always have anxiety when you plane takes. Because you can't find somehow a bird as heavy as that can stay at 2 feet above sea level. You can't understand it, no matter what the statistics. And I read mathematics, I know statistics. Statistics say that for a plane to crash, there was at least 1 million flights. And I know some flying 200,000 times. So it's almost impossible for a plane to crash. That's assuming all things are equal. And if I now add that I believe in God, but all that statistics I still with you. Now, what am I trying to do? Just matter when you start. So what she was telling me was, if you want to be a pilot, you must be a rich kid. And this is why rich kids are really pilots. Because your father must have taken you. It's from that childish, they take you as age 2, 3, 4. Then that's what's terrible. That when I grew up, I'm going to be a pilot. Right? And it makes sense. Now, what am I trying to get? It doesn't matter when you start. You are almost already late starting now. But you're not that late because I'll start tomorrow. And you already have an advantage when you started. It doesn't matter when you start. It's called the principle of the 10,000 hours. If you want to good at something, you must start and spend 10,000 hours on it. And that's why pilots, they calculate and promote them by number of hours flown. We call it flight time. So what flight time for you? So Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. So Bill Gates starts the story of Warren Buffett where they say how he grew up. And I said, oh, once again, it doesn't matter when you start. You get that as a teenager, right? Was among the first people on earth to have a computer, first 100. Does that have an advantage for him using computers and eventually creating a PC company, personal computer company called Microsoft? It does matter because he had no advantage. But let me shock us more. His parents moved homes, and when his parents moved home, they moved homes to a place that was next door to Washington University. And when I looked up Washington University, the first thing that hit me was Washington University happened to be one of the first universities on earth to have a course called computer science. Another coincidence, right? It does matter when you start. It's like me saying I live in a podcast. My next door neighbor lives in lab, and there's a course only in lab studies in the world, and I take interest in that course. It does matter when I start. So, as a student who was in Washington University, he was still friends to go and play with computers. So he had his 10,000 hours way before anybody knew what a PC was. He already didn't know what a PC was. He had used it, he had mastered it. He probably knew a lot about computers more than even the lecturers. Because the lecturers in computer science started at a young age. So when people say Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard after 1 year, and I try to give an example. School has scam, no problem. School has scam because Bill Gates dropped out. Now, Zuckerberg, Facebook dropped out. They tell you that they dropped out for you to bend. Why not? No. But what I'm saying in essence is a dropout from Harvard first year is equivalent to a prof My last time I David, but we get the point, right? It does matter when you start because of the concept of consistency. You cannot be consistently inconsistent when you consistently want to be. I repeat that. You can't be consistently inconsistent when you consistently want to be. So the first thing you do is define what you want to be early enough. So do you want to be a realtor? If you don't want to be a realtor, why are you here? Because the way the universe works, the universe doesn't like people that are inconsistent. The same way, even the people who have made money off understanding how the universe works, when you understand how the universe works, success starts to happen. Because success is built on principle. And one thing is not about principles, how do we know the results? Look, if this door is not locked right now, not locked, right? But it opens inward. If I stay on this door and I keep pushing it, you know how quick it's locked. Because it opens inwards. That's how the universe works. When you know it, you pull it back, it will open. You know it's not hard to open. So the day we all crack the code of how to make it, you will know that, but you know that there's more energy in there to make your 100K than for that to make 1 billion. That's how you know that it's not by muscle. Am I talking to somebody here? So, Warren Buffett begins to central agenda discussion to storytelling. So, Warren Buffett begins that story about how he grew up. So, I'm learning that, okay. So, I see why Bill Gates has advantage over all of us. Because I didn't use computers till I was almost in uni. And then they came and taught us Fortran and Basic and COBOL. Something that I stopped using 20 years ago is what they taught me computer science in uni. Right? So, I already have a disadvantage. Right? So, how does it connect to us all? Is you have started now, put energy in it, because the energy that it took from people it's one thing for you to say there's an opportunity next to you and not take it, because don't forget that I'm sure the Gates wasn't the only person that lived in the neighborhood that was close to you. The same way, you're not the only one that saw the adverts that there's a training there and came. Other people saw the adverts. So other people saw the opportunity and left. Right? What's the matter? Somebody said, what is poor? How do people become poor? And then I just put this here. That. For people who never heard it before, passing over opportunity repeatedly. Poor. And when you don't understand this, you roam around. But you won't have working. Poor and hardworking. In fact, I think it was hardworking for the head and poor. I think mathematics, when they taught us effectively mathematics, so we do f of x, y is a function of f of x. One of the things that we realize is that y is a function of f of x, right? Y is a function of f of x. But what we don't tell us is that y and f of x, this is poverty and this is struggle, right? I will say that this is wealth and this is struggle. I will say that struggle is inversely proportional to wealth. Now, that's maths. Struggle is inversely proportional to wealth. What it means in simple terms is the harder the struggle, the lower the wealth. In fact, sweat is inversely proportional to wealth. If you're doing anything that takes out physical sweat from you, then you're farther away from wealth. Wealth is inversely proportional to wealth. Sweat is inversely proportional to wealth. Now, because when you don't understand it, you put more energy. Thinking is by energy. Same way this door is not locked, but it's opens inwards. And I'm trying to push it. It opens inwards, I'm trying to push it instead of pull it. You know what I'll do next? I'll put more pressure to push it. That's what happens. You put more pressure, thinking that the more pressure takes you deeper into. Okay, that's why I'll push it, I'll spoil the door. The same thing, and let's see how it is. So, Paul, then you now get very busy because you haven't figured it out. And busy too has dots. Being under Satan's yoke. The devil just uses you to be labor. You've entered the devil's territory. You keep you busy for the rest of your life. But I feel like that story of the Bible about Job, and that story is deep. The story sounded like God and devil was having a conversation on top of Job's head. So I still speak about it. That's a very short portion because if that God and devil on that portion are in then they meet. Then they meet, forget. But that portion there was a negotiation, as a matter of fact. The negotiation ended up saying, do whatever I want to do with him. But don't touch his soul. If the world doesn't change that much, I feel like that portion still happens in certain lives where God and devil is dragging on top of the matter. And God also tells them, what do you want to do with this guy? Don't touch his soul. Maybe your destiny is basically to be very successful. Devil says, I want to kill this guy. God says, no, don't kill this guy. But do whatever I want to do. Right? But don't touch his soul. Just say, And I think that if you don't give me credit, it's a good value. It puts you here. It keeps you busy for the rest of your life. You just be there. Every day you work hard and you see the Lord. Go to PLT Boston like 5 o'clock to go straight. You see people that wake up by 4:30 to be there by 5 o'clock. When you engage them, that's what you realize. You've been doing it for the past 15 years. You know that they are hard work. For you to wake up by 4:30 and be at the bus pass every 5 hours, you don't want to live life that way. There has to be a shortcut. And that shortcut, and I'm not saying this because I'm trying to sell you real estate. I have done business for almost all these sectors. We're currently doing a project for a commodity trading company, $20 million in partnership with a state government. I've done around retail, right? Rough and tumble, slots, iFitness. These are brands that we created a lot of this concept and idea that we do the business plan and all of this. I can tell you that one of the industry that I've worked with literally always there's no industry like manufacturing, agriculture, retail. I sit on a lot of boards. I'm on the Mexican Business Foundation. I can tell you that the industry that is easy work in the past is real estate. And it has the highest potential. It's what we call low effort, high profits. All you need is have network, manage your network, service your network, show them character, show them value, sit back. Once you break that sound barrier, it's like what happens when a plane takes off? A plane takes off and it struggles to take off. Once it takes off, pilot goes on autopilot and has to take off. You don't know this. Most times you fly, the pilot is true story. Yes, pilots, most of the time, pilots sleep off. Okay, you Google it. Especially in long 10 hours, 6 hours, pilot goes to sleep. Sometimes, no pilot don't sleep. And it's normal. That's when you know you've gotten it right. That's what I'm saying. If you crack the code, you know the process. You are in an industry that is high profits. Yeah, there's something we used to draw in business school down here. When we call it the BCE matrix. Right? When we measure things by market growth over market share. And we put 4 different categories. So this is 0, this is 10, this is 0, this is 10. Right, this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So what would A mean? A would mean low market growth, right? Low market share. Does everybody get it? B would be what? Low market share, high market growth. Quite complex. D would be what? I don't tell what D would be. This is market share. This is market growth. What would D mean? I don't tell. What? High market share, low market growth. That actually tells you, I'm trying to get the term cash cow. When you ask what is the cash cow, what cash cow usually means is low grade, high market share, which is D. This is what you call a cash cow. And it's not even the best place to be. Because see, if you're a business that is in low market growth, high market share, means that you cash out quickly, but it doesn't have any prospects. Because the market is not growing. I'll give you an example. Let me use Dangote Group and show you. Dangote has so many products. You see some are high market share, low market share. I'll give you an example. You see Dangote Cement. You know it's the most profitable part of his business. You know why? Because it's high market growth, high market share. Is there a large market share for it? In terms of as against competitors, it's the biggest competition. Then the industry is not shrinking. In fact, Nigerians are not starting building house. If you think about it, if you go to Dubai, you know Nigeria is not the level. The tallest building in Nigeria is 36. In Dubai, they have buildings that are almost 200 stories. You never start building house. Right? Well, because they don't have space. Guess what? Lagos does not have space. You don't know that. Let me tell us what the data shows. 36 states in Nigeria, Lagos is the smallest. You don't get space. There are states that, if you go to the north, there are states that you do 7 hours on the same state. So don't let speculate make like Lagos have land. We don't get land in Lagos. We don't have space. So what I'm saying is, whatever problem Dubai has, Lagos has it. In fact, if you go to Dubai, Dubai has more space. They will say they don't have space. If you go to Dubai, you still see expanse of land, but they're really too futuristic. You know that even that because space no reach. That's what they're doing. 100 floors. I'm not going to Dubai for that land. I want to do this. I want to do permits. I need this. People are looking for that. But now, what am I trying to get? You are in an industry, unlike refinery, it's still in that hotel business. That hotel refinery is here. It's high market share, people need it, but low market growth. There's no growth opportunity for oil and gas in the world. It's shrinking. You're not going to wake up all of a sudden and all of a sudden petrol, oil, crude oil per barrel will become $120. It will never happen again in lifetime. It's not growing, it's not industry that is growing. But in fact, what they are banking on is that Tesla will take over the whole of West, right? Western world, and then they will ship all of the cars as chaff, Nigeria has to collect what has been rejected, right? So that's what we're banking on. That and what's happening? Cars will be ridiculously cheap in the next 2 years because those cars are being banned abroad. They'll be shipped here. What we don't realize, even for them with projection, is that whatever affects that country, they will not allow it here because last and say everybody will be. When they banned CFC, it happened. Chlorofluorocarbon, what they used for refrigerants and filters. It became cheap. After one, they also banned it in Nigeria because it doesn't make sense to ban it here and leave it here. Like this thing that I'm you now do security in the owner and leave security outside. When the Amaba comes to one security, your house will jump into. Right. So what am I driving at? Real estate is actually here, not here. What does it mean? High market share, high market growth. You're sitting on a gold mine. If you take it serious, it is too deep for it to be side hustle. How do you make main chick, side chick, make side chick, main chick? You don't have sense. Like who carries Beyonce as side chick? Carries Beyonce as side chick. Right, but we get it, right? Like how? How do you mistake alligator with crocodile? That means you're calling main business. You don't reach real estate. So why are you calling main business? I said, if you take it serious enough, and how we know you take it serious enough? I think earlier you take it serious enough, the better for you because of the 10,000 hour rule. That says it was 10,000 hours for expected to be at it. So the earlier you take it serious, because the guys are cashing it now, cash it now, not that people were smarter than you, they just started earlier than you. Am I? Makes sense? So the great story and the word story start again with releasing how they met, and explaining how they met and how they got close. In fact, what shocked me was they are best friends, BFF. But they were not just best friends in the last 2 years, they've been best friends for the past 30 years. So you see how people rub off on people were best friends before they ever made the phone place. Please, at any point, let me know when the great speaker needs to come so I can. I'm not actually supposed to be there. So I do back-end work for GText. Been the business consultant for years, right? We do all of the business model, the concept, and then the idea of us saying, oh, wait a second, we need to have our own independence. Let's be humble and not take credit for it. But get it, right? So my work is the structure, so I'm not supposed to speak. I just sometimes do, I think it just comes natural. Because once again, speaking is this high market share, low market growth. See, I cannot speak my way into Banana Island. Right? Because I don't know if I'm making sense. So, 30 years. Second lesson to learn. One story, all the lessons are packed in that one story. First story should be when you start. It doesn't matter when you start. You started late, not too late. Right? You say 7 years ago. But the next best time is what? Now. Second principle is who you hang around with tells where you're going to. So they were not two rich people in the first place when they became friends. They were friends, and that friendship took them to the first place. See the difference? If they probably were very good friends, they would not have gotten to the first place. Maybe because of the theory I just said, theory of good envy. Good envy. I think so much you learn is good envy. But it's a very staggering thing. So you don't know where good envy, enter bad envy, and how about this end up? Right. Now, so here's the thing. Where who you are hanging around tells you where you're going to. Typical aspire to aspire and tell you so many times. You are a product of 5 people that's closest to you. See, the 5 closest to you, write them down. You find out that all of you are comparable the most of them. And that's how you need to change that thing. Because obviously there is good. I'm hanging out people who, matter of fact, it's so funny. I wish that someone gets that question. And writing the activity is in I'm like, oh, that's so we're trying to hang out, like, oh, the students hang out as well. I really don't like to go out that much anymore. I just think that's too much. So we like to do a house party. House party. Like, oh, yes, we have this house party. It's like where I'm like, another land. I just have a few young boys about my age who are doing pretty well, legitimate business. One of them paid down payment $1.5 million for the house. Not married yet. That's what $500 million. Down payment. No spread. How many percent are you spending in 24 months? I know they spread anything. But matter of fact, it's so funny because things in the house are like, like how am I using? I had the wife, I had the wife, my wife goes to material. I said, and it's even that doesn't material, let's invite her. Was how I knew was when the deal finished. I said, sorry, I just want to say thank you. What are the friends that you have? Because you just introduced from the house. That client that you introduced like 4 months ago, yeah, I know you. And so that you go through. Say, yeah, you go through. I did it to you for the house. I don't know now, boss. Just send me the account number. Okay, right. When she send the money, I have to call her back. How much do you pay for this one to be pure water money? And that money I can buy GText land. I'm telling you. So that's how I realized that when they say much. No, but what am I driving at? So I'm happy to come with the I'm not okay, so that house let's hang out there one of these days. The house was on my Friday night, we just buy and chill there. And so I'm happy to come with next thing, 1 week ago, I was like, easy, I'm moving to Banana Island. I'm like, check, good envy. Do we get it? Right? And that's the kind of friends you want to have. Because now I'm just saying, I cannot carry that too. Me too. And that's how growth happens. That's how growth happens. So what am I saying? The quality of the network generates the energy for your next position. So who are you hanging around? You want to make this thing full time, but the people who are hanging around you are making it part time. You always almost act like you're part time. Because if you get our Buffett story, we trace the same point again. Because we get was saying that he met Warren Buffett over 30 years ago. Over 30 years ago, Bill Gates' mom had told Bill Gates that he's sure they were going to be very successful. But that one thing she wants to do before she dies is to make a list of other people she also thinks, that's what these words, she also thinks will be successful in the future. So she made a list of all of them. So the bit like, okay, my mom can be very funny like that. So yeah, why don't you successful? Because I want to invite all of them to dinner and cook for them before they do. True story. So because like, okay, come on. Apple don't fall too far from tree. Remember the woman that has bought laptop for we don't just invite party people to come. But in that party, we were going to 20 and 30-year-old, which that was his age around there. Who came to 20? My mother had walked up to him. I said, you see all these guys, everybody knows them. And I kept my life like 20, 30 years old. The one running in America. 30 years later, so in that room, in fact, in that room, there were strange people in that room. The likes of Richard Branson, who today is the richest billionaire in the whole of Britain, the whole British Empire, the richest British alive. So involved them. Which advances the old Virgin advances. Right? Hey, Virgin Cola, Virgin Records, Virgin, you know. And then in that room, there was also Bill Gates, whose mother was hosting the party. And then there was also and then so all these young boys are chilling and eating, and they're all walk differently, talk differently. Nothing faces you. It's confidence. And I said last time that I think Nigerians have to sort out themselves. Nigerians feel too graceful. And there are two sets of Nigerians. People that feel too graceful and people that feel too timid and too moved. And people that are too timid, that's why we can't ask for change. We're just timid. This is why we see, and this is my problem with this morning that I had that conversation with I don't think people should carry those bag. You see, is this carrying bag that 30-year-old that carry for 70-year-old body now that's making people not ask for their change? Because when you get a chance, when you have carried bag, you lose the ability to confront other people face in the face. Right? Now, what am I trying to get at is, and then now the second set of people who are so graceful. You know, there's a way you can be grateful to be in this room that you cannot ask questions. So that you don't ask one person to walk you out. Just grateful. You just want to maintain where you are. And a lot of people are like that. People who think that the greatest is actually life to their life. They're just grateful to their life. All this story about blowing and making 1 billion, like I just want in their life. You know, we see them every time and they fool shit will die. You know, those guys are God. And there's no one being grateful to their life. But that's not the greatest. I don't think God created you to their life. Just their life. I don't think He created you to their life. I think that in soft God that all your creation, you need to yourself, is their life. Right, and I spent that month the last time, too technical. I like to draw maths, I like to draw problems, I like to draw graph. That's why I said if I'm a writer, write kind of books belong to me, right? I'm a mathematician, so I like to draw graph. I explain this take another time to explain about this thing about potential energy and maximum attenuating energy, maximum potential energy. But let's finish you for a perfect story so we can let us go. But that story, I'm sure once you remember stories are the best way to explain a concept. So these guys are chilling, you know, eating because they are sure they're going to make it, which changes how you act. Nobody was faced with anybody, you know, just eating like like if you're a billionaire, enter a room full of billionaires. You don't wake up and like, oh my God, you're a billionaire, me too. You're a billionaire, it's calm. Right? So how that calm? So the gate walked into the room after she said the food, walked out, walked back, and they were all eating and went something from someone in the big minutes. Because the woman said, I don't know. She literally stood up and said, I don't know, drop the food. Do you guys understand why I brought here? That Bill Gates writing to Warren Buffett on this is how we met. Remember? But this is the key thing in the story. So the mom says, I didn't just want to call all of you to eat. All of you can afford food in your house. I called all of you here so that you can engage and interact and be friends so that in the future you don't become enemies. Because you're going to make it. Wow. Right? So he said, okay, interesting. And she says, oh, so you guys still don't want to talk. Right, let's play a game. Okay, let's play a game. And then she looked at the pen we've had, and she brought up a piece of paper and shared all of them. I said, okay, all of you have made it so far. You're okay, but you're going to make it very big. Can you summarize how you made it here by being one of the most promising people and how you make it in the future? Can you summarize that whole journey in one word? All of you write it down in one word. That's the game of it. Cover it, right? And we're going to submit it. It's just a game. And at the end of the day, we want to find out which word is the most consistent. And over 30 people in that room. Everybody write down, don't let the next person say, none of what I'm saying is, are you successful? He says yes. Mention all your journey to especially to one word. So, just Nigerians, I tried to ask Nigerians, all of them will say, grace. and that's my problem, because when you say grace and it's not going to grace, you have to lose the opportunity to know how you made it. So it's grace now. And now, how do you blow? It's grace. So what should I do now? Grace. And as Stephen said last time, in first many times Trust is grace. Trust is grace. If it's grace, I am about that rock and stole and stole. It's grace. Let's be gracious. Okay, tell us that. Telling us grace. Which one is grace? You know, but then God made Nigeria in the room. So just write down the word. And maybe God is telling us something that when you make it, you won't plan on it. I'm not saying grace after today when you blow and drive Range Rover and the road choice, right? And they say, please, can you tell them how you made it? Please tell them that, I put in 10,000 hours. That's tangible. So they know that, it's not easy work, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Tell them specific. If you ask me how I made it, I can tell you practically that it doesn't matter how we grow. I know where I am today to my father. And it's not because they left me with that money, definitely. But there's something I noticed my dad did. I didn't even realize that. I'll tell you something. I said, somebody was trying to analyze something. Oh, some lady was hired for GText. Like he said, it's not hiring GText. I was actually talking about hire. So we hired this lady, and just funny story. And so she just worked in the place for 3 years. She started there 3 years, a very long time. So I now laughed and I said, generational dynamics. And I was asking her if you know the X, the Y, and she knew the generation X, Y, Z, millennials, centennials, digital and stuff. So she did quite so. I was not schooling how generations are different. One is how they behave, one is 70. We all behave in how see. There are people that have entitlement mentality because of whoever they're born. Same way if you're born in after 1990, you are most likely smart. Because that generation had an explosion of knowledge. That's when the fourth revolution started, when IT was born. They are the ones that use phones without manual. We, about the 80s, read manual to learn how to use Nokia 3310. But they didn't give the manual. Have you noticed that new phone don't have the manual? In fact, their phone, they carry big booklets, bigger than the phone itself. So we learned the hard way. This is important. I have a 2-year-old son. It's something like there's no physical, logical explanation to how my 2-year-old son that is still learning to say dada. If you drop the phone, my son is watching cartoon on the phone. Like I can't understand how you know. How to open my phone. I never got the go to YouTube. How do you know YouTube? You don't know A, B, C. How do you open? How do you know that you can watch Baby Shark? Baby Shark. And the people that like, I'm looking at it and I'm sure that, oh my God, you know that you don't want to say, like, you don't have to catch somebody on, like, tell me where you're from. I think my great grandfather, that's how I'm thinking in my head. But that's generation. It's called, that's the digital native. It's a sentinel, it's a digital native. We are not digital native, we are digital immigrants. We migrated. They are the one hosting us. We are immigrants, like literally illegal immigrants. Am I communicating here? Yes. Now, the funny stuff about this whole story is that we all behave based on how where we come from. And one great asset, I took a watch to realize that why I am here, standing here, right in my sleep, wake me by 5 a.m. or still standing here. I'm quite audacious, right? Stage fright is not something I understand. So we say, you cannot talk on stage, right? It's because of how I grew up. And I didn't realize how I grew up till so when I was talking to the HR lady and I was telling her about 2 years and 3 years, like a long time. Because of you are a millennial, that's why you take 2-3 years for a long time working in the country. And my father worked in the company for 7 years. I'm sure most of us have it. Some of us fathers work from the people left uni to when they graduate, Japanese are still like that. So there's a difference. See how generations, nobody right now in Nigeria is going to work for 10 years, 20 years. Even Shell, even working in Shell, they don't work for Shell, 1.5 million a month. They still will live for 20 years. So you have generations that are different. So how did where I grew up matter? My father, since when my father worked for 7 years, I didn't realize why he worked for 7 years in a place till now. That he worked in a place for 7 years because there was an amenity he was enjoyed in that place that was so important to him, to how his children would turn out. He didn't want to leave the job so he doesn't lose the amenity. And it was the fact that when he was working, had a residence in Korea, and he wanted us to grow up in Korea. And today, if I go out here and you tell me that this guy out there, anybody I get outside is a billionaire, if I talk to that guy for 3 minutes, I know somebody. Because of where I grew up. Look, I grew up as a kid with third parties, and we'll get people. This is secondary school party, we'll get people, and the people from gates will go to their car and go and call their mobile. Children to that's how I remember that's very interesting story, because when I had this motion, I still told someone upon someone I'll be the car a few days ago, and I told the story. And the guy was like, I was telling the story about how I knew this guy from when we were kids and we used to go parties. So the guy was telling me that the first guy that was not what I was saying. Like, but that's not the point. The guy you were talking to, I said, I just told you. I said, no, not tell me who the guy is. I said, why? I said, because somebody just told me that I shared you. Is it true? I said, oh, sorry, it's not. I don't think it was an important part of the conversation. Does everybody get the point? Right? This is people that were next door neighbors. Now, we were wealthy, but it was important for because my father probably realized that Nigeria. Who you know is important. Who you know. So it's surrounded. And I was telling somebody I didn't know how important it was to my father till the day I wrote my final paper. You know that day you write the final paper and then they pour you water and pour you sand. You went to Nigerian school, you went to Harvard, you don't relate. When they pour you water, show you. That's what that is. I just ran 100 credit. You know, this was yes, it was 7 8. I bought my credits, just scope of C. First thing I said on the phone, Daddy, your last born. The last born is now a graduate. But I said, praise the Lord. So I dropped the phone. The next morning, my father said, so well, I just got to work and I kept on my resignation. I said, damn. Does everybody get the point? He was waiting for me to graduate. I mean, God's been graceful to me that taking care of my dad the last 10 years. We're waiting his house right now. And when I say a very humble state. But what I'm saying is that's something I know is essential ideology. Every other thing, even whether you think somebody is smart or not, still comes from. Because if you didn't grow up in a certain place, the same way you cannot grow up in a village and dream, right? The kind of dream that Elon Musk dreams from SpaceX. If you never go NASA, the national go to Mars. This cloud, you say that's what God lives. You know that thing like that thing that God lives in the cloud. If you have flown, you know that you have passed cloud is under you. You know that God, except God lives under you. I don't know if, so what am I saying is we're all a product of how we see things, and how we see things the product of people around us. So who is around you? If you're the smartest guy in your room right now, change your room. If you're the richest person in your circle, you need a new circle. After you accept this way, but you can't be consistent where you consistently want to be. When you work and you do in a place where people are discussing that anybody that's a millionaire needs blood money, what are you doing there? Do you want to do blood money? That thing, you know the people that think that any QR codes is politician money. So you must. That people that think that anybody that stole Nigerian money. It's a state of mind. So that somebody just just say, up we go. That's the state of mind. When you are in a certain way, you see 24, 25-year-olds who have small great idea, enter incubator and accelerators. VC comes in, sponsors them, and in 4-5 years, they are flirting with unicorn. Unicorn is any business that $1 billion organization. Would you now, if you see 20 boys in their 20s, collect $1 billion, $1 billion, that thing is almost, that thing, if you give it to Nigeria right now, vaccine will go around. Vaccine will go around, plus extra money that used to create vaccine for HIV. But what am I driving at is the game of our circle. And what's the key word? Still again, consistency. And let's go back to consistency about the gate and and the end of the story is the end of this session. Right? You get it, right? So this is the end of the story. So for a Buffett, when Bill Gates comes down to the okay, all of you play the game, write down one word that made you successful. Right? Right. So if you ask me, I'll probably have put network there because network point made me successful. Just how I see things, people I saw, everything will just look very within reach. Right. Everybody wrote down this thing that nobody saw what everybody wrote. And then she brought all of them, collected all of them, and put them in the big ball. And then opened one after the other. 30 guys that didn't know themselves before that session. 30 of them, coincidentally, are all successful today. But more coincidentally, they all wrote the same thing. How do you guys become successful? And how are you going to become more successful with your routine? Keyword. Guess what it was? Focus. Yes. Focus. That is it. Focus. People don't stay long enough in anything. If it's not working now, it means that it can't work. That's how we live life. Focus. Ever since this was a few months ago, children had told them about anything. There's this thing called focus. But focus creates blindness to other things that are irrelevant. There are things to me that is irrelevant. See, it's so deep that I have come to the option that people, except if someone is very kind to me. Today is Saturday. I'm standing here. I'm probably going to be here. Saturday is my money making day. I cannot go and jump to love right in the wedding. My focus level blinded. See, when they tell me that you are getting married, I say, oh, okay, well done, no problem. But let's have it. In my mind, I don't do that. Except if I'm the bride. Like your parents did. Except I'm the bride. I don't know. And guess what? I need to don't do wedding. I noticed that the only other person to do wedding is the bride. Any other person can do without. I do not go. You know what my man says? You know I will not go. If I go there, I will come there. When you finish on Monday, I'm going to come back for the time. I'll give you 1 week so that you have one. And I know you're broke after wedding. 9 out of 10 people that are married are broke 1 week after. How I know people are not married, don't broke. So I know. That time I know you're broke and everything is set in account. See, the prayer they pray for me is the one that the people that hold their jollof rice. Focus creates blindness. So I'm blinded by unnecessary things. But life has too much waste. There's too much waste in life. See, life has too much waste that you live for 70 years. You don't even know that you have not lived for 70 years. 70 years, not 70 years. You don't have to know. This 70 years, convert it to months. Then convert it to weeks. Then convert it to days. Convert it to hours. Then divide it by 7. 1/7 of your life is a waste. See how it shrink. That 1/7, it. Remove another 1 hour for food, morning, afternoon, night. That's assuming you can get up. Some of us eat and GCP. You can stay like 2 hours. Why does you GCP? The booker will help your situation by calling you to premiership. And that's why that 45 minutes watching first half. Then, if God help you, the member is a super sport for halftime. You watch the analysis. They watch that before you know, let's have one of them. Before you know, another like out of this 1/7. That 2 hours of food. Then gossip. Try to use with gossip Big Brother. Ronaldo and Messi, who is better? Jay-Z and Nas, who is better? Tupac and Biggie, who is better? Beyonce or Rihanna, who is better? Toyota or Honda, which is better? I can't do that better. It's like another time. You realize that that's whatever you have there. The magic maths I use in one of my trainings. We will now convert it back to years. This is what maths is. You now start at 70 years before you actually live in life. You know the past 20 years. Rest the waste. So after that 20, you still want to waste more by hanging around people. It's an absolute waste of time. Last one before I go, it's intentional as those guys in the room. Anybody can fall off a ladder by accident. Nobody climbs a ladder by accident. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay. Thank you. So when we tell you GText Homes is Africa's fastest growing real estate company, you've seen one of the brains, one of the engineers behind that growth. Once again, let's celebrate Mr. I strongly believe he's been able to provoke our thought process, and I know we have questions. So take them one after the other. Who goes first? Number one. We will do maximum of 3. Number one, questions. Number one. Okay. Number 2. Number 3. Okay, number 3. 4. Let's do one last one. The lady. Let's do one last one. One last one, a lady. Anyone? Okay, number 1 first. Please make your question very brief.
Thank you very much, sir. Your session was very, very insightful. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I just want to ask a question that when you said talking about making real estate your almost like a side also for the community. Just now, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm startup entrepreneur. I've started some pieces of startup, I found startup that have failed. And I'm also working on one right now that is also bringing a bit of results. I'm just want to ask, I'm going to just actually when I do a contact, I first get it last year November. So I want to know how to diversify my attention to take real estate as my business because I believe I can make beyond real estate. Thank you very much.
Okay, number 2. Okay, there's a microphone there.
So quickly, right? This is what I meant by, and your 2 businesses didn't fail. Maybe you should change how you see it. They haven't succeeded yet. That's a different way of seeing it, right? That's a different way of seeing it because even the failure, the lesson from that failure will add to your success, right? Is the failure, we all fail forward. So that's not a question. Just want to correct that. What I said, so you understand the map about high growth, high potential, which is very realistic, right? And just to show how data shows that, look at the Nigerian budget this year. I think increased by 26%. Highest budget allocation for this year is on construction. Actually, on construction, way before education, way before security, way before health. Nigeria has that's the real sector because of the large amount of expansion government doing around the roads. Right, I'm really trying to do the second when I had a really good expansion with the building airports in a lot of places. I remember the concept of international airports. So there's a lot around this. You know why I don't think it doesn't possible. I just want to selling land to the take that they go to site for 14 language. Nobody back on that. It goes off. So it affects everybody. That's what I'm saying. It ripple effect. I mean, that place in Anambra that they're building airports. That's gone on. Just in your area, when they are doing good, landlord increase rents. Landlord increase rents. You just see them just to tell. Right. So the potential is huge. Now, I'm not telling you to drop what you're doing. That's not the point. See what you're doing, right? As interdependent and direct into real estate. Let me tell you what we realize. Every entrepreneur, every successful entrepreneur is real estate. How we know? When you make all that money, what do? The most expensive toy, we call it toy, right? The most expensive toy in the world. Now, PG, private jets. Guess what? There's no private jets. There's no private jets. That is more than 200 million. Can't even buy 200 million private jets. So people like Amazon, Jeff Bezos, what are they doing with 100 billion? It's real estate. What's the biggest retail brand in the world? It's McDonald's. McDonald's, that's 20,000 stores. Who's watched the founder and movie founder? You see the movie founder, how 20,000 stores. And I was telling my wife this, because she started a business in retail brand. I was telling her, every time I tell her, systemize, create structure, create system. I'm like, so she's like, I'm not complaining. I mean, I want to know. That's because you think you're already one business, one store. I don't want you only one store in 3 years. I want you to go to 150 stores. That's why you need to systemize. Because how can you place 50 places at distance? And so she's like 50 stocks, like, wow, stop. You know, let's have really try, it won't carry on, you know. So let's say 50 stocks a lot, but donors have 20,000. Just imagine your stock, 20,000 pieces, and they are not chicken republic size. Right, but that's the point. At the end, you're converging back to real estate. You know what was powerful about McDonald's? If you know the story, make sure you don't put it. That guy was building, he knew it was real estate. He knew he wasn't selling food. He was real estate. If McDonald's said to begin to speak, you have 20,000 buildings to sell. Guy, 20,000 buildings to sell. I mean, you know the last story I put the last morning about what do you do? He sold assets. So I need you to see it as that perspective. Then here's another thing. The clients that can do business with you can also buy real estate in that your normal job. So it connects the jobs. Then benefit cost ratio, the energy you're putting in that your startup, if you put half of it from real estate to get more results, that's what I'm saying. But let me assume that maybe you're an exception, you're passionate about real estate, you want to sign money. Then divest your energy. This, for me, it's a game of passion. If you're very passionate about it, you cannot be passionate about something and not, you can tell where your mind is going to. Not necessarily by its passion. I think overflow is passion. What you can tell where your mind is going to go by passion is by what is said. Show me what is most of the time and tell you where you're going to. So if you want to be a footballer, okay, no problem. So I spend most of the time in football. If you want to be a coach, you can start. Yeah. Right? So that's really it. Right? Divert that and it takes discipline. It takes discipline to know when to stop, even when you enjoy the ride. Because you see children, when children play on themselves, what if children will talk, the time that they enjoy the hits that come from that day. Is there see? Sometimes people understand that failure itself can be very enjoyable. I thought people kill when they are killing every day smoking, liver smoking, they enjoy the smoking, but it's killing them. Right? So it's discipline to know when to stop, even if you're enjoying it. To say this energy I'm putting into this thing, I can put it something else. It was a statement I just made now that I love speaking, I enjoy speaking. But knowing when to stop is important. So I must keep my life away on top of passion. I don't know if I'm talking something else. So it's really discipline, and the only way you can get that right is association. The more you feed your mind into this thing, the more you surround yourself with it, you get obsessed with it. The same way Holy Spirit enters people in church, the same way evil spirit enters people in shrines, the same way sometimes enter people. It's just by hanging around, not forget. Look, if we carry you and then drop in MFM, you will not know when you speak in tongues, even though you are Catholic. I'm telling you, just by hanging around people that are speaking to catch you. In case you think MFM is too much, if you say I cannot dance, I don't know where I am. I'll carry those select. You will dance, you will not know when. You somebody, you don't know. It's how it works. It's the same way evil spirit enters people. When we're kids, my grandmother and what if you're don't eat here, they give rich. I'm like, which one is the give rich? But as I grow, I realize that I have a lot of people that are rich, not the way you catch rich. Because it's infectious. The same way. COVID has shown us that people that have COVID don't even know how they got COVID. They wear masks. See, you can't explain it. It's in the air. The same way this thing, obsession, is in the air. If you hang around people that eat and sleep eat. Do I?
Number 2. Okay. Thank you very much for this wonderful session. It's been very insightful. Although I have a similar question to this, but I have to change my question. How to make real estate my main hustle? First, I'm into 9 to 5. Secondly, I used to be a student leader in the school in Attack and so watch your back. Yeah, okay, I'll definitely guys to you again. So thinking about the network I have, I'm this guy that people call me, Baba, I get 1 million, I get 500K. What do I do with my money? I used to run away.
I don't want to enter trouble. I grew up with a father that told me, be contented with what you have. But I realized I've lost a lot. Right? If I started probably I finished 2018 to 2017. Imagine I started real estate in 2017. And fast forward 2018, 2019, people ask me, I have 1 million, I have 500 job licenses. How will I convert this to my network? Because I'm not trying to hype myself, but I have this good network that they trust me and they need. How do I convert it to big money from real estate? Thank you.
Okay, so let's do the same process. That's correct notion. I'm correct notion too. That you don't want to add. In this country, I don't know about Bulgaria or America. I don't think in a field of power. Understand it first. But of fact, concept of success ladder, the side effects is wahala. Just make sure that you are not the one. But wahala will come from always. Let's manage that situation. But still setting it before we finish GText Homes. When we receiving with consultants and not really because Basel I guess all the time like this. We're kind of close, right? My wife. Now, so one time I said you don't get 2 lawyers. Lawyer, you have a lawyer, it's not just wahala. Today we are seeing it. You don't have to do anything wrong. You don't have to do anything wrong. Remember, your competitor real estate will carry you, your name, to police station and say that you're encroaching, even when you don't encroach. So it's better. So here's what I'm trying to get at this. The side effect will always happen with wahala. Just make sure you're not the one looking for it, but be prepared for it. People who are safe, very safe, usually will become very successful. Very safe. Matter of fact, the concept of safety and security are directly opposites. People don't realize that the safest place. Safest place is prison. It's safe, very safe. And take them away from. See this, and I have to control and I know that sports are people play and sport for play. More people like let me save sports. I want to save for. Let me give a first example. 2 years ago, your Dr. Stephen went to Dubai on his own, entered the plane, that's 2 feet above sea level, true story, that's 2 feet above sea level, or guy jumped down. You saw it on Instagram, he said the skydiving is sports. I wish he was here. That's the kind of mentality. Do you understand? Like, I'm sure that people think I'm too scary, they don't feel jump down. Do you know what it's for you on your own? Go and I want to buy this early this year. He was able to buy to where for this guy safari ride. I wanted to run mad. And that's how I know that I never blew. Because there are people there who were chilled. One pastor that followed us, hey, you know how you can now meet a British person. You know that the person I'm strong. Those people that their primary language that from those angels, man, we get this one. I said he was so scared. This was not the people there who are doing Nigeria who followed us. So there's something about correlation about being too safe. But that's not the question we ask. What I'm saying is, let's manage the expectation that this safety thing we have to learn to be more daring. Because even if you start to collect money to pay from people, I can tell you that they will collect 100 people's money that won, just make sure you do not steal it. Except you're carrying the money to go and keep it in the house, and they want you that every 1 month you reduce by 5%. The fact that you're going to invest or give it to someone that invests, there's still risk. So the earlier that story happens, the better for you. I don't know if what I'm saying. It will still happen. Just make sure that if you start it earlier, you faster pace. Make you stronger. So if for any reason somebody says, you show me 5% in stock market is crashing, you calm down. Because you know why 4 years ago, stock will crash. You lost money, but you stayed long enough and the stock goes again and you made more money. It's experience. I've known people on cinema before watching one badass action movie. Everybody, oh my God, the actor is going to die, the actor is going to die. You know, I'm just kind of movie that has high energy. I have to never close the eye. But because I've seen that movie before, you cross your leg, know why? You know how to spend it. It's lack of city. And this is what people realize in life. All this anxiety we have is lack of experience. So that's out of the way. Now, about how to collect people's money. This is what I teach. Start from the known to the unknown. If you know anybody that you can trust with a safe, most times the safe investment are not the most profitable. Start with that one first. Else it's breach. That one that you know say it surely die, that the money cannot die also. But I can like this one new concept of agreed investment. GText launch on the GCP. Sure or not? You know what, that's interesting. Because the risk in agreed was what happened if the crops perish. But now they're learning to be smart to insure the crop. So even if you perish, they still will not lose money. That's safe investments. It's not the most 100% return on investments. Every one of those business that tell you 100% in 2 months. Okay? It's MMM. You are start investing. Start with the safe one that is pure. Then, as you build more confidence, you can now look at the safe ones, including the kind of ones that somebody says, I have a great idea in invest. That people who are their mind not strong, rich. People are taking chances on just an idea, no product. I say, look, you know what, I'm investing in this thing. I like the idea. That comes from. Don't start with those ones, so, especially because of your daddy. So your daddy said, don't. Right? It's important that you start with the safe ones. They're saying that you don't put your 2 legs into whatever you don't know the depth. You put 1 leg first. Right? And then it's called rolling wave, progressive elaboration. As you make money, you turn it back. Then another thing, is start with people you know. Then move to the unknown people too. Remember, known, unknown. You know why? Because your brother's money. You just say it. And you just go well. You know your brother. Your brother will not sense us. Come on, even if he does, you go end. My mother will come there and push scarf. Your blood brother is a settler. So you know that this is why, once again, go back to that question about it doesn't matter what the student is 20, can't take it now. If I want to take no risk now, I look at my this son, I look at my wife, and believe myself. My 20s, they go this kind of thing. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is I cannot find food. I go to my father's house after my last month. I don't know if anybody gets it. But now I'm a bit safer. The first set of business, I don't say 128 businesses we built. The first set of businesses we started from people we know. Because then we still like consulting. In case I give you bad advice, you know work. You're my guy, Sha. But I don't know. So building explanation is start with known investments and then start with known people. To hedge, it's called risk hedging. Qualitative risk management. Thank you.
Number 3, okay. The number 1 vision for real estate in Africa is close by. So, good evening. My solutions are 2-pronged. One is about what you talked about, people living in comfort zone. When people feel like, oh, there will always be poor in the land. That's the mentality that people have to shift. Really, and it's that drop in me while we're talking about let me just chip in because we are so full of religiosity. The Bible says, oh, they are poor in the land, and people won't maintain that status quo. And the second one is that are you for hire anytime that one needs your service, your address, and way to get in touch with you? These are my 2 submissions.
On the light side, I'm an Igbo man, so I'll take the 2 first. That was important. That was money. So I don't know my slides. Look at the last part. Right? I don't do a lot of social media. Like I said, it's focused with blindness. However, if you reach my social media, I will get the message. Probably not direct. Instagram, I follow my Instagram, I follow my Instagram, LinkedIn, I'm more active on LinkedIn. I write also for LinkedIn, right? Then consulting, yes, that's what I do for you, that's what I do for you. Right. So yes, I'm always available. Right. But think about it. Sharp or very I'm sure if you go to value the thing is not the most want. Value the thing is what it costs you. Right. I think I've made my view. Rarely it's literally impossible that it's possible to do this type of administration. Just because of the years of failure that we've had, we've learned a lot of this failure. So we're always available for consulting. The name of my friend is Xavier, that's a shirt. Xavier. So what is GText I think you should follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. They give a lot of tips. I like the concept of people. I'm a huge fan of people because my client, my friend, he gives. I'm sure everyone knows that he's a giver. Right. And so I like to give. I like to give them. I like to give people. So follow us to get free tips. Because what I also realized, I feel bad every time people want help and I can't afford it because I can't afford it. What I usually do is go to my blog, my audience, there's a key outline for another. So you can check us out on Instagram, Twitter. I do a video, I want to video, I have a video show. And then for consulting, do business actually right. So you follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. This is the best way to what's the same there? I'm sure I'll reach out. And since I'm yes. Search on your right. And so the first that's how the contribution. Yeah. The contribution. Thanks. Guys, thank you for having me. God bless you.
I think there's a number 4, right? Okay. Once again, please let's celebrate Mr. Isu. Let's celebrate him. Thank you. All right, So ladies and gentlemen, while we're in the office, sometimes you could be wondering when the salary is going to drop, you have bills to pay. You could be wondering, you have something you want to buy, but you do not have the money to get it. And then there's somebody who is seated, reaching out to prospects, reaching out to clients, talking to them, and before you know it, alert drops in the account, the client buys, and then this person gets commission, looks good, takes good care of it for herself, I want to be like that person. So today, at this meeting, before the #1 Bishop of Real Estate comes in, she's going to take her session, tell you how she's able to do those magic. Okay? So there's a place she goes to. And listen, there's a place she goes to where she does the jazz. Some people use charm to say, oh, you're not aware. You're going to hear it from her first. I can't imagine myself talking to somebody to buy. The person doesn't want to buy. But this lady picks up the phone, speaks to the client, the person buys. Not true. Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not too busy, she's adorable, delectable, intelligent, kind, beautiful, or fine for those two. Sales manager, GText Homes.
Hello, good evening. I'm sorry I didn't take my session during this time. I was supposed to. We had a management meeting. My name is Ofemi Forluto, and I am a sales manager for GText Homes. Okay, me, I will not do inspiration. Let's bring down. Let's bring it to my level, our level. So I'm going to be doing an interactive session for us. Okay, but first I'm going to be talking about how I ended up to be a GText. I call myself a proud GTexter, as a matter of fact, and I love money. And I know basically why most of us are here. Do love money. So I'm going to be talking on the practical aspect of the money mass, right? So I used to be a customer relationship person. I like to talk to people, tend to their needs and more. So I ended up at GText Homes. and everything changed. I used to think if you have to sell property, you have to renovate it on the road. You have to walk on the sun, under the sun, and meet people where some of them will insult you. Some of them will stumble upon your integrity. Some of them will even tell you they want to sleep with you. And some of them would actually tell you things that would reshape your value. But on getting to GText Homes, I got a different perspective, a totally different perspective. And I've never met any of my clients. I talk to them on phone. Most of them have become family. Most of them have become friends. Some of them are actually tending to come to Nigeria and tell me we want to meet you. That is because I have created a relationship with my clients, but I've not met them before. So I'm going to be asking us, why real estate? What do we know at this stage? As a matter of fact, what do you intend to do in this real estate business? So I'm going to be asking you first. Why real estate?
I want to
manage, multiply their money in real estate. Please explain more.
real estate is a very good, which people can manage and multiply.
Nice. How do I ask it? Nice. Okay. So why real estate?
Real estate is like God's kind of business. Just talking something about lunch. Because I can remember Adam got lost the expression say just trust.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure I should be able to ask some of you when it comes to another aspect. For real estate, it's something you can touch, something of value, just like you said. But in another angle, everything that God has actually made, if you check the people who are in real estate, if you check the people who sell firewood, the people who sell sand, the people who sell water, thank you. Yoruba will say, one, kinitoshi, meaning they usually don't know poverty. You know why? They are tending to your needs. They're tending to my needs. I joined real estate because I found myself there. I'm staying in real estate because I like money. I love money. So for every client that I sell to, every client that I speak to, I'm coming in from your angle as a woman, as a lady, as a man, as a boy, as a student. So if I'm talking to a married woman, I'm talking to you because I don't want you to be a liability to your husband. I'm talking to you because I want you to have an identity outside your husband, not because you're rude, or because you have to be stealth to make him know that you are his helpmate. That's what the Bible calls us. Like if you are talking to a client as a man, who is a man that wants an identity? Who is that man that tends to have an identity that does not aspire to have a land? If I'm talking to a lady, there will be a time you need that money without talking to one boy, without, reminding yourself. I happen to meet my dad at an early stage, but there's one thing that I didn't bother about. I did not bother to pay rent because it took the risk. So for every land that you have today, for every house that you are living today, your landlord or your landlady took a risk. So if you're going to be talking to a client, tend to their needs. Why are they buying that property? Are they buying it for the ROI? Are they buying it to build? So depending on the angle you are coming from, I happen to meet a client who has gotten all the estates that we have at GText Homes. I've never met her, and I don't intend to meet her because she's giving me money and giving her what she needs. She does not intend to come to Nigeria anytime soon. And you know why she's buying that property? She's actually from the royal family. But she's buying those properties because of identity. Because she knows that tomorrow the king might die. Everybody dies at one time. We don't pray ours anytime soon. But she wants an identity because the king might die and you might shade her off. Now, I happen to meet another man who always wants to buy every property launch. Why? I have to ask him, sir, why? Why are you always wanting to buy land? And you coming home anytime soon? You say, oh, well, you don't know anything. You're telling me that I don't know anything. If I don't know something, I would know why he's buying this property. I don't intend to even ask why. He's giving me money and giving me land. It's an exchange. The way real estate is a necessity. If there's nothing we have learned during the time that Corona happened, it is the fact that the oil that we actually hold on to build us, or one thing stood the test of time, it is the land. It doesn't depreciate, it appreciates. It doesn't go off, it stays. Even if the building on it burns down, the land stays. It remains, it is yours from generation to generation. Like I would tell every client, if you have one, buy another one. If you have two, buy another one. Like if you have three, buy in the name of your children. Like you have four, buy in the name of your siblings. Because you know what? A good name is better than riches. Like you tell your clients that, okay, yes, why would I buy? Well, if I tells you why would I buy in the name of my siblings? Why would I buy? They are actually in existence because of you. Right? So I have a few slides here. Just like the topic of today is saying that making millions, being a millionaire, is not just about the money, it's about here. How are you becoming a millionaire? I might have a lot of cash in my account, and I have a lot of assets, but if I do not position my brain to becoming a millionaire, I have still not left that position of penury. So if we're going to be saying you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, it starts from your mind. Now, real estate is one legit business that you can become a multi-millionaire overnight. When I started earning commission, my first commission was 100,000. That was at GText. I've never sold any property outside of GText, and I don't intend to because it's where I work. Now, I earned that 100,000 commission, and then it was like, yeah, worry. It was a big deal. Now, the next one, it keeps appreciating and appreciating. And there was a time, this last time I got 120,000, and I was like, yay. And I've gotten to the stage where I want more. Now, real estate enlarges your coast. It broadens your horizon. It enlarges your mind to wanting more. Because if you're broke today, the next thing you're thinking about as a woman, as a girl, as a boy, as a man, is the next property to sell for a company so that you can have money. It's legal. It is allowed to long for money when you are in real estate. It's allowed. It's not a sin to want more. So as a real estate person or as an aspiring multi-millionaire, change your mind, change your thought, change your horizon. I'm not saying get rid of your colleagues, but change your environment, change your mind, change the way you see things. Okay, the sales starts with you. We're coming back to real estate. I only said all that just so we can imagine what I'm saying. Now, as a millionaire, it starts with you. Every single sale you are selling, every single property you're selling, every single sale you're doing, it starts with you. Next slide. He said there is no such thing as a born billionaire realtor. Great millionaire or billionaire realtor makes it look easy, but superior performance usually indicates a billionaire realtor has taken the time to hone their skills and is consistently helping them create a better relationship with their prospects. And Dr. Stephen Akintayo is talking to me. It makes it look so easy. They make it look effortless. It's not easy. But on the real sense, it's not easy. Sleepless nights. The times where you need to shake your go, Lord, let me try. You know, it depends on you. How hungry are you? Now, being a millionaire or an aspiring one doesn't happen overnight. It is here. So whether you are a first-time salesperson or looking to get back to the basics, these steps are the essential pillars of successful selling. How do you sell? How do you prospect? So if I'm allowed to ask, I'm going to be asking a few of us, how many of us just started real estate? How many of us just started? How many of us are a year into real estate? 2 years. A year. 2 years. A year. A year. 2 years. 3 years. Born realtors. The ones that were bettered into being a realtor. 4 years. None. So how many? 4 years. Yeah. 5 years. 6 years. 7, 10, 2. So basically, most of us just started real estate. Is that what we're saying? Thank you. We're together. We're still here. We're together. Okay. So he said, when you're a first-time salesperson or looking to get back to the basics, these tips are essential to be a successful seller. Thank you. He said, identify your goals. If you're selling for the first time, knowing your goals and measuring your performance against them is the most important place to start. I started real estate without any vision because I got there by accident, but I decided to stay there on purpose. Now, I started slow. I didn't make the sales until like a month after I graduated. I didn't have a goal. I didn't write them down. Now, sometimes when someone tells you to write your purpose, write your dreams, just like one of our speakers said, pick that check, write what you intend to write. Our office, our MD's office, he has 20 billion naira check on his wardrobe in his office. Now, without a goal, you wouldn't be able to measure your growth. Without having one. When I was first promoted, I was promoted as a GText farm manager. How I got there, I don't know. But I got there. Now, I wasn't able to measure what I did to get there because I didn't write anything down. Now, later I was brought back after creating GText Farm. I was brought back to GText Homes. Now, GText Farm has it's one of the subsidiaries of GText Global. There's GText Homes, there's Stephen Consulting, there's GVS, and all those. I was brought back to lead GText sales people. Now, when someone asked me, how many sales are your team members made? I couldn't answer. But you know what? The company was actually surviving under my team because we were making a lot of sales. But I didn't have anything measured. I didn't have anything down, so I could not answer. Now, in as much as, yes, it might be a mirage when people tell you, write it down. Like, what use? You should write it down. It is not aspire to aspire. Write it down. Having a goal is the first step to identifying that, yes, you belong. Now, when I was asked, after like 2 months of staying at GText, I was asked that, where do I intend to be? I didn't have an answer because I got to GText by accident. I didn't have any answer. But now, if you ask me, I want to be among the board. The people seated at the board center, because I'm already at the management section. I want to be there at a very short space of time. Now, writing it down, my first sales, like I said, was 1 million, and I got a commission of 100,000. Now, if you ask me now how much I have made, I can categorically tell you how much I've made, because I now write them down. And it took me time to sit down to be able to start calculating. Okay, in November, collected this. In January, okay, 2 weeks later, I wrote it down. But if I had actually started by writing it down, I would say, okay, out of 20 billion, I've already made 1 kobo. It's good to write it down. So it said, write down your goals in figures. That is amount of leads you need to get to make sales, amount of successful clients you intend to do, and strategies you intend to create relationships. What works for me might not work for you. What works for you? That's what you should ask yourself. As a real estate agent, as a realtor, as a consultant, what works for you? Do you intend to pitch into the aspect of where you tell clients that they should not use all their hands to eat? They should have something on ground. Are you under the category of people who want to say, yes, I am proud to say this man became a landlord because of me? What category are you? What works for you? If I'm talking to a woman that is married, I pitch it with friends and family. And yes, as a realtor, you should be able to diversify. Don't just think your clients are going to be people who are thinking in your way. Diversify your thoughts. Think about it in different angles. There are some people who they earn 10,000 and yes, there is hope for people like that. People who they want to be sectioning 1,000 naira, spending the time that they are able to humongously tell you that you want to acquire a property. Now, depending on that client that you are talking to, you should be able to diversify your thoughts. So understand that it won't happen tomorrow and it won't be easy, but always strive for the top. Some clients might talk to you today. You might be hoping, okay, I'm waiting for a lot. And you might not later even pay that money. Do not be discouraged. Dr. Stephen used to say that if you have a line of 200 clients, a line of 200 leads, make sure you don't rely on one, because that one might disappoint you. And what are you aiming for? An exchange. Give me land, I give you money. Now, but if you hold on to one client, you might fail, but enlarge your horizon. Talk to your family members, talk to your friends, have enough leads, digital marketing. That's why Mr. Mayo wanted us. Right? Next slide, please. So recognize the movement of sales. Understand that sales have a process. Typically, a sales process consists of 5 to 7 steps: prospecting, preparation, approach, presentation, handling objectives, closing, and follow-up. Now, majorly, where we usually have problems, follow-up. A client might tell you that I'm not going to pay until November. Now, from now till November, you will have forgotten. You won't follow up. Now, there's something that my Dr. Stephen used to say is do lead, do BCC. I didn't know the benefit of all those things. Work fast. Now, if you have inculcated the habit of always doing BCC, email. Okay, if you have inculcated the habit of being BCC every time, there will be a time you would have said to that man, even unknowingly, that he will remember that, okay, I promise the person remember. Because it's a win-win thing, right? It's a win-win thing. Real estate is exchange. If I give you property, you give me money. We're not doing anybody a favor. Now, in as much as this land is not going anywhere, they're not creating more again, meaning that it is out of the one that is existing that people will buy. Now, follow-up is usually what we have problem with, and how to present. Presentation. Now, if I'm intending to be a landlord today, I want to build, I'm buying land to build, and now you want to sell me a waterlogged area. You can see there's a conflict, right? In a case whereby I want to build today, if I buy the land, I intend to start building. Now, what I have at that time is not ready to be built. We'll be saying two different things. But if I'm intending that, okay, in the next 1 year, or I want to buy that land now because I don't want to waste my money, then we can talk business. Now, giving your clients what they need at that time, presentation. How you present what you have, prospecting as well. Prospect. If you're doing digital marketing, Madam Adenika used to say, I don't know if, okay, some of us came yesterday, used to say that if you want to sell property like 1 million, 2 million, you have where to prospect. If you want to sell the one of 10 million or 15 million or 100 million, there is a particular place to prospect. Now, if you want to sell a property of 100 million in digital marketing, right? So where we are prospecting is different from what we are selling. Like if you want to sell a particular property of a particular amount, you should be able to know where to aim. Now, if I'm giving you a right product and I'm going to the wrong place, I can't sell. It's not a cost. Now, if I have what you need, let's presume now the weather is hot, and I'm not selling sweater. How now? It won't go. It doesn't gel. So if I want to buy a property because of tomorrow or my generation